Coming to you from the Lydia Media Studios in the heart of Lewiston, Auburn, it's Lydia's Lunch Bunch, LA's afternoon morning show. We're covering news and events in the greater LA area and talking to the people making a difference in our community. Feel free to share your comments, questions, or suggestions via email at podcast@lydiamediallc.com. Today's show is brought to you by Ruper's Beverage and Redemption. When it comes to beer, wine, and spirits, don't botch it, squatch it. At 4 locations in Lewiston, Auburn, and Oxford. Learn more at rupersbeverage.com. And remember, the party starts at Ruper's. It's Mark flying solo on a Tuesday, and it is also Manufacturers Week here on the Lunch Bunch. And coming up in just a bit, I'll play my interview with Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Strainrite, Matthew Lapoint. But before we get there, let's take a look at some headlines for Tuesday, August 18th. The Auburn City Council voted 6-1 to give final approval to a mobile home rent control ordinance. The ordinance will create a review process to make sure any rent and fee increases for mobile home parks in Auburn are reasonably tied to increases in the Consumer Price Index and the park's rising costs. According to statistics from the U.S. Office of Personnel Management, the number of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents in Maine increased 44% over the last year. The national average for ICE agent staffing showed nearly 27% growth nationwide, while the national employee count for ICE increased from over 22,000 to over 29,000. Maine Public reports that Mainers who buy health insurance on the state marketplace for 2027 will see average rate increases of 15% for individuals and 13.5% for small group markets. The Maine Bureau of Insurance says the jump is due to inflation, rising prescription drug costs, increased use of healthcare services, and more expensive provider contracts. And the Sun Journal reports that Procter & Gamble's TAM brands received unanimous conditional approval by the Auburn Planning Board for a $40 million expansion of its Hotel Road factory. TAM Brands is the only factory in North America producing tampons and related feminine hygiene products. The new construction will expand its ability to store raw materials for the production process and finished product. Now it's time for the weather. Cloudy with some sunshine breaking through later this afternoon. We'll have a high of 78 and a low of 65. Mostly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 81 and a low of 63. And partly sunny on Thursday with a high of 80 and a low of 62. In sports, every player in the Red Sox starting lineup drove in a run last night in an 11-1 rout of the Arizona Diamondbacks. They'll play again tonight at 7 at Fenway Park. That is your news, weather, and sports. And right now it's time for the podcast segment that is Sweeping the Twin Cities. It's time for famous people birthdays.
They're famous. It's their birthdays. It's famous people birthdays. It's famous people birthdays.
Let's take a look at FPBs for August the 18th. We're going to start off with Andy Samberg, who is 48 years old today, got his start on Saturday Night Live, and is credited with revolutionizing SNL by creating digital shorts. You know the ones: Lazy Sunday, Dick in a Box, I'm on a Boat, and Shy Ronnie. Andy then went on to star in Hot Rod, a criminally underrated comedy film, and he also starred as Jake Peralta on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Christian Slater, 57 years old today, he made his film debut with a leading role in The Legend of Billie Jean in 1985, then gained wider recognition for his breakout role as J.D., a sociopathic high school student in the satire Heathers that came out in 1989. He also starred in the films Young Guns 2, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Interview with the Vampire, and many more. Edward Norton is 57 years old today. He gained critical acclaim for his film debut in Primal Fear in 1996, then went on to earn an Academy Award nomination for his role as a redeemed neo-Nazi in American History X. Then he starred in Fight Club, but we can't talk about that. And rounding out FPBs for August the 18th is actor and comedian Dennis Leary, who is 69 years old today. He created and starred in the TV series Rescue Me. He also played Johnny Rock, a washed-up rock star on the FX series Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. He also played Gwen Stacy's dad in The Amazing Spider-Man, and he voiced Diego, the saber-toothed tiger in the Ice Age movies. Those are your FPBs. Now it's time for some OTDs. It happened on this day. It happened on this day. It happened on this day. 12 years ago on this day in 2014, Taylor Swift released the Shake It Off video, which now has 3.5 billion views. Some people aren't thrilled about that, but, you know, haters gonna hate. 20 years ago on this day in 2006, Snakes on a Plane was released, starring Samuel L. Jackson as an FBI agent trying to keep a witness alive aboard an overseas flight that is somehow overcome by snakes. 34 years ago on this day in 1992, Boston Celtics legend Larry Bird announced his retirement. In his 13 seasons with the Celtics, he was named Most Valuable Player 3 times, played in 12 All-Star games, and hit double figures in points, rebounds, and assists 69 times. He is also the greatest trash talker in NBA history. Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Dominique Wilkins all agree with that statement. You got to look it up on YouTube. Larry Bird was an absolute savage on the court. 40 years ago on this day in 1986, Bon Jovi released its third album, Slippery When Wet. That featured Wanted Dead or Alive and Livin' on a Prayer. And finally, 57 years ago on this day in 1969, the original Woodstock ended peacefully on a Monday morning when Jimi Hendrix took the stage at 8 a.m. Most of the crowd had already left for some reason, and they did not get to see an incredible set that included Purple Haze, Foxy Lady, Voodoo Child, and let's not forget Jimmy's version of the Star Spangled Banner. Good thing we have YouTube. Those are your FPBs and OTDs for August the 18th.
Whether you want a sit-down meal or a grab-and-go, Pat's Pizza in Auburn offers delicious sandwiches, pasta, salads, and pizza at family-friendly prices. Pat's Pizza, serving the LA area since 1985. Open daily from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. at 85 Center Street in Auburn. Online at patsauburn.com.
Looking for a vehicle, but don't love the car shopping experience? At K&R Auto Sales on Center Street in Auburn, Frankie Campbell is known as your friend in the car business. That means no pressure, honest conversations, and helping you find the right vehicle for your budget and your life. Stop by K&R Auto Sales today and see how easy buying a car can feel when you've got a friend on your side. As promised, I am joined in studio by the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Strainrite, Matthew Lapoint. How are you?
I'm doing well. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us today. We so appreciate a few minutes of your time. Can you explain what exactly it is that Strainrite does?
Yeah, it's a common question that I get, and it's a tough one to explain to people because they know, whether it be their house water filter or their pool filter, they know that filters exist, but it's a little bit different for us compared to what the normal human would probably interact with on a day-to-day basis within their life. We're a liquid filtration separation manufacturer here in Auburn. We've been in business since 1978, and we really focus on more of an industrial, pharmaceutical, food and beverage filtration. So really anything that needs to take, whether it be solids or viruses or something out of liquid, that's kind of where we come in and play. So whether it be the paints on your house wall from your Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams type people, or your favorite liquor and spirits, to pharmaceutical drugs. We kind of touch, all different types of industries.
And your family founded the company in 1978.
Correct.
So did you grow up in this company?
Yeah, I've been, since I was young, whether it be making boxes on the production floor to, eventually moving into production and then into the lab. I've been at this in a full-time role for 6 years now, but in reality, I've been hanging around the company since I was a little kid.
Can you recall what inspired your family to start the company?
Yeah, so actually the story goes further back than 1978. So my grandfather grew up in Lowell, Massachusetts, a similar, area to what the Lewis and Auburn area really is, and grew up in the textile mills. And he got into basically filtration before filtration be everything. He worked for a company called GAF. Him and his team invented the first liquid filter bag. And then when they sold off their U.S. Manufacturing, he spun off and started Strainrite. So yeah, he was one of the first U.S.-based and U.S.-owned filter companies, and kind of started this whole revolution of filtration here in the U.S. And there was about 3 or 4 other partners of his that worked for GAF that started their own filter company. So it's cool to trace our roots that far back.
Yeah, absolutely. And how have you seen the company grow through the decades?
Yeah, it's a completely different company now than it was when my grandfather first started it in 1978. We're now more what I would call into the high purity filtration market, where in the beginning it was just your bulk separation, a lot of paints, coatings, very industrial opportunities and applications. And now we're getting into more of your pharmaceutical drug manufacturing, your spirits, high purity water, semiconductor, high value applications that are a little more unique than bulk manufacturing and filtration.
And I'm curious what your earliest memories of the company are.
That's a good question. You can go in a lot of different directions. When I was a kid, we used to do Halloween parties up there, and my parents would take me and dress me up in all different types of things and walk me around the production facility. Yeah. I think one year I was a lion or something like that, and that photo keeps coming back up no matter how many years later we are now here. Everyone seems to remember that time. So I spent a lot of time getting to know the facility and the people, but it's really quite a pleasure to still be there.
As you touched on earlier, innovation is a major part of Strainrite's success. Can you share an example of an innovation that significantly changed the company or the industry?
Yeah, I mean, we use innovation in all areas of our backbone of our company, and we kind of promote that within our people and the environment of, we want them to come with ways to make their life easier, make our products better. One of those things that we've partnered a lot with the University of Maine's Engineering Center and have revamped a lot of our production through the university's education and engineering department. And that has allowed us to automate way more than most of our competitors. It's also been a really cool experience for us to have local kids and work on and create new machines and then get to see them deployed in the field. And we've even had some of them come work for us after they've graduated. So we really just like to, anytime we can be innovative, rely on the local community and the expertise around us, we really like to do that. So yeah, that's just one of the many areas that we work on those type of things.
Yeah, and how many people does Strainrite employ?
We're roughly about 90 employees, with about 85 of them here in Maine.
What does it mean to you to have this company that means so much to us, not only here in the U.S., but worldwide, situated right here in Auburn, Maine? Yeah, honestly, Auburn and the Lewiston and Auburn area, really, it's kind of fundamental to who we are. The people that work here and work at Strainrite, they're kind of the backbone of the company, and we relate closely to what the product makes in the community that we're in. Ironically, my grandfather grew up in an area that was very similar to Lewiston and Auburn, so when they moved the company here in the late 90s, it was kind of a natural fit because of something that he was used to. The people were something he was used to. And yeah, we're super fortunate that the community has embraced us, and 30 plus years, we're still here, loving everything about it. There's a strong manufacturing community here.
Yeah, 100%.
It's fascinating, really. That's why we're doing this this week. This is Manufacturing Week here on the podcast, and we certainly appreciate you coming in and being part of that. Let's get into something that we can all relate to, food and beverage. You touched on it earlier. I'd like to get into a little bit more detail. Can you kind of take us through the process of what exactly Strainrite does for this industry?
Yeah, so, for example, we have a Sazerac facility over here in the Lewiston, Auburn area that uses a lot of the filtration, but mostly that we focus on is the spirits world. So, whether you're making vodka or you're making bourbon, you're looking to take out the impurities that would be sitting in the bottle when it gets to your shelf, right? No one wants a nice, clean, crisp-looking vodka with floaties in the top. That would be not enjoyable or help the sales process for that vodka company. So at different points within the process, they're going to hit it with filtration steps to take out anything that, whether it be carbon fines or loose fibers that migrate into the process, basically to make sure that when they finally bottle it and gets put on the shelf, it's 100% the product that they want with no impurities. And that's kind of where the filtration comes into play, is that final barrier to make sure, the end user gets what they're looking for. All of our filters go to other people's facilities, and we are just a bi-component of their overall process. An important part of their process, but it is still their process. And then most of the time we get brought in, whether when they're starting up or when they need to make improvements or they're having upsets within their system, and we look to remedy those situations and help improve their processes.
What about pharmaceuticals and biotechnology?
Yeah, there's a lot of filtration in there. Probably the most important is the last stage when making any type of vaccine that's going into the body. You want a barrier between the actual drug and the human consumption of that drug. Now, if you were to have like endotoxin or viruses, it can be very dangerous to you and I when we're getting our vaccines. And it's a common, we all get vaccines throughout our life, and that's an important step to make sure we're all safe and can, take vaccines without worrying about, impurities getting into your system.
Right. And you're also providing filtration systems for microelectronics and semiconductors.
Yeah, it's a popular topic right now. And as it's becoming more and more prevalent, we're hearing a lot about the water consumption at those facilities. And basically our role in that is to make sure they can use least amount of water as possible, as clean as possible, so they can whether reuse it or make it last longer so they're not pulling the natural resources as quickly, and protecting, the chips, the computers, in order to make sure, they're not wasting their resources that way.
And oil and gas filtration systems as well. You want to talk about, just things that affect our everyday lives.
Yeah, you don't think about filtration on a day-to-day basis, but then when you do a deep dive into it, pretty much everything that you touch and interact with is most likely going to get filtered at some point. Because once again, a lot of these things don't occur naturally in the environment without impurities, and you're looking to get rid of those impurities. The same thing goes with oil and gas, downwell injection, things like that. A lot of the stages in the process involve filtration and the water to push it out. And basically, whether it be filtering the oil and gas that you're extracting or the water that was injected into those wells, you're going to filter all of that to try to limit the impact on the environment and create a high value, high purity product in the process.
Right. When did Strainrite become a global company?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say it was probably a global company from day one. When the company originally started, there was a handful of different aspects of it, not only the filtration, but they did bulk packaging and some other different types of packaging like products. And that, was the outback in Australia for mining and refineries. Since day one, we've been really an international company, and we've just kind of piggybacked off that. And I think we're sold in 30 to 40 countries around the world.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your day-to-day as Vice President of Sales and Marketing, Matthew.
Yeah, really, my goal is to kind of grow the business and the impact that we have, not only locally, but internationally, and make sure that we continue to see Strainrite growing and a benefit to us, but also a benefit to the community. The more we can grow Strainrite, the better that we can be as stewards within our community, and that's really important to us. So,
how about some pros and cons of working for a family-owned business?
There's no cons.
I've
never heard of a con working in a family business. No, it's been a great pleasure and an honor to work with my family. You learn a lot. You get exposed to things that you might not get exposed to at a young age. So you take the good and the bad with it. The exposure is a great thing, but the exposure is things that I might have to deal with that when you leave the office, you don't have to deal with anymore, right? So it's a double-edged sword, but nothing. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I enjoy my family very much. Yeah. It definitely helps when you like your family and who you work with. So.
I would think so, absolutely. I'm curious, Matthew, where your employees are coming from.
Yeah, we are pretty heavily focused in this area. A lot of our, whether it be Lewiston, Auburn, Poland, Minot, really anywhere in this area, probably within a 45-minute radius. Draw a circle, and that's where our employees come from.
Do any of the community college programs help?
Yeah, so funny to tie this all back together. So my grandfather and grandmother are heavily involved in the community college system. Mm-hmm. There's actually a building on CMCC's campus with my grandfather's name on it. He grew up, his only formal education was at community college in Massachusetts, and my grandparents believe heavily in what the community colleges offer. So every year we have a scholarship for every community college campus where a student of the year gets picked, and they get a scholarship for that. We've run programs with the community colleges. We have a very close relationship with CMCC, with it being right in our backyard. And we really enjoy having that resource and the access, not only because it's great for us, but it helps the community. It allows them to get experience. Whenever we can work with the community colleges in Maine or even the university system here in the state, it's something we like to do.
Yeah, and now with free college for recent high school graduates, you guys have a pretty steady influx. So.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. It's funny to listen to my grandfather or my grandmother talk about it when we go to the yearly presentation. Is that it was different when everyone was paying for Illinois, but now that it's free, it's a different aspect. But we're really glad that it's working out that way, and I think it's better for everyone right now.
Yeah. Are you hiring right now, or are you well staffed?
Of course, yeah. We're always hiring. We're always looking to grow our staff. You're not doing yourself a disservice if you're not looking for great talent. And we know there's a lot of great talent in this area. So whether it be in our QC department, whether it be in our weld shop, whether it be on our production floor, we're always looking for new employees.
And what type of person makes a good Strainrite employee?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the best quality is someone who cares about the environment that they're in, whether it be this community. I find that when you're a selfless person, not just because I want to work better, but also because I'm doing things outside of work that make, the community better, whether you're coaching or volunteering or whatever it is, those type of people do really well in this team environment. Mm-hmm. So, we love to find people who are active in our community. Because not only do we want to be active as Strainrite in our community, we would like our employees who are also active in the community around us.
Wonderful. And how would you describe the workplace culture at Strainrite?
My father likes to describe it as a family, and I see both sides of that aspect of, yes, it's a family environment, but also we have deep respect for our employees, and we know the balance of that. So we want to create an environment that they enjoy being here, but also know that this isn't their life, right? They have lives outside of this, and we're really only looking for, while you're at our facility, give us everything you got. And then when you're not here, don't worry about us. You have a life outside of Strainrite, and we want you to enjoy and focus on that life as much as you're focusing on Strainrite.
Well said. I wish more employers looked at it that way. Not speaking from experience here, but, in general. Where do you see Strainrite in 10, 15, 20 years, Matthew? Because innovation is part of your culture, right? So,
10, 15 years is, it could be in a lot of different directions and something that we're really excited for. But really, even within the next 3 to 5 years, we see Strainrite growing and developing quite rapidly. We're at a really interesting fluctuation point within a lot of the industries we deal with, whether it be the semiconductor, data center world, or the pharmaceutical world. There isn't a lot of people of our size left in this market. So, we're hopefully growing and developing, this unique environment that Strainrite has in a way that just continues to flourish and people come to appreciate it.
All right. Awesome. Is there anything else about Strainrite that you would like our listeners to know?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, we covered a lot of
Yeah,
ground.
it was good rapid fire questions.
Yeah,
for
great.
Sure.
Where can folks go online to learn more about Strainrite?
So our website's strainrite.com, strainrite.com. And we're in the process of updating our website too. So by the time this podcast comes out, it'll probably be a whole new website.
All right.
With career opportunities, learning a little bit more about what we manufacture.
All right, great stuff. Over 47 years of excellence and expertise. A lot to be proud of right there.
Dirigo Federal Credit Union is proud to call Lewiston Auburn home. Whether you're buying a house, saving for the future, or growing your business, we're here for you, right where you live. Visit dirigofcu.com and feel the difference of a credit union that truly knows LA.
Matthew, as I warned you before we started recording, we do close out the show with a segment called 3 Random Questions, where I'm going to ask you 3 questions that have nothing to do with your industry. We're just trying to get to know you a little better.
Okay.
Good with that?
Love it.
All right. Question number 1 for you, Matthew. Would you rather be handed $100,000 in cash, or would you rather flip a coin for a 50-50 shot at $5 million?
50-50 shot.
Why is that?
I think realistically, the game of chance is a little bit more fun for me. It plays to my personality. I'd like the opportunity for the bigger pot.
I agree with you. That would be my decision as well. The owner of the Lydia Media, Pam Ashby, and I were talking about this question. We both agreed that nowadays $100,000 isn't really life-changing money.
No, unfortunately, that does play a role in it.
Yeah, very unfortunately. Yeah. But I mean, I'm thinking about it, and that's a couple of brand new pickup trucks. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Right?
You hope you can get a couple.
Exactly. Yeah, bare bones. All right, Matthew, question number 2. Putting your professional skills aside, what could you teach someone to do today with 100% certainty?
I would say to be an excellent downhill skier. That would be
right.
I grew up as a ski instructor. Spent my winters as a little kid coming to Lost Valley and King Pine in New Hampshire, and then as I got older, I spent more time up at Sugarloaf, where I was a ski instructor up at the mountain. So I guess that's kind of a cheating answer to say I have some experience already doing that, but
that's totally
fine. It's not my profession anymore.
Yeah.
So
no, that's totally fine. I never got past pizza and French fries.
You got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere.
As long as you got that, we can go from there.
Did you ski through high school? And
I never competitively skied on the race team or anything like that. I always just got lost in the mountains. Yeah.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
All right, final question for you, Matthew. If you could attend any concert or sporting event in history and have the best seats in the house, where are you going and why?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, it would probably be Avicii's concert. I believe it's Tomorrowland. I'm a big Avicii fan, and I'm super devastated in my life that he had passed away before I was kind of really old enough to be in his concert scene. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that would be someone I would love to have seen in concert.
Front row center, just going nuts.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was an unbelievable experience. So yeah, absolutely.
All right, great stuff. Thanks so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for having me.
Thanks to Ruper's Beverage and Redemption for sponsoring today's episode. And if you'd like to be part of the Lydia's Lunch Bunch advertising family, reach out to Pam Ashby via email at pam@lydiamediallc.com.